Hi all and welcome back. So this is the video dealing with the fourth of our exercises relating to our truncated or our cut cylinders. So you can see here the type of shapes that we're going to deal with now are going to get a little bit more complicated, but the principle that we're kind of dealing with is still remaining the same. So this idea of our profiles interacting with each other. Here we have our cylindrical tower, this time on a church, so it could be like for a bell tower or that, and we have a roof section here like that. And it gives us this kind of, you can see a profile or a picture here, this kind of elliptical kind of interaction here like so. And we actually also have a second set of interactions, which is this little hip that we have here. So a little kind of small hip portion here, which is an interaction between a straight cut and our roof like that. So again, we have a couple of different things in this. We can also see that the interaction between our tower and our roof here, this kind of curve that we have here, is going to be mostly hidden away from view when we look in from the front. So it's actually going to appear as a hidden line. But aside from that, really, the approach that we're going to take is essentially the same approach that we take in our previous ones. First thing we do is identify the views. A, front elevation, B, plan view, C, again, like the previous examples, looking from the left, our view appearing on the right hand side. And now we identify our profiles. So what are the interactions between what solids? So the most obvious of the two there is the interaction between our tower. So that the view that most represents the tower here is our plan view. Looking from above, we see that it is actually a round. It's a round tower. Where do we see that it's round? If I look in from arrow A, I don't see that it's round, I'll just see a rectangle. Same way if I look in from the side from arrow C, I just see a rectangle. Whereas when I look from above, I can see that, well, actually it is a circular shape or circular profile. Um, so our plan view is our profile view for our tower, and that interacts with our roof here on our main building. So the profile of our roof here is going to be our end view here looking in from arrow C. And again, the reason for that is because this is our slope surface here. If I look in the direction of arrow A, well, let's take aside from the hip here, all I would see here is a rectangle. I wouldn't know that it was sloping. Same way looking from arrow B, all I would see is a rectangle. I couldn't say that it was sloping, or I wouldn't be able to tell you what angle it was sloping at. So if it wasn't for um, view C here, I wouldn't know what angle it's going to be at. And then lastly, our third profile is this slice here, which I do see when I look in the direction of arrow A. So when I look in the direction of arrow A, I'll see my slice here as a slice, and I will be able to see what angle it actually is at. So we have our front elevation is where we see the profile of this slice for our hip. The end view is where we see the profile for our main roof body, and then um, our plan view in direction of arrow B is where we see the profile of our round tower. So I would say probably the main views to draw in there are probably really going to be our, we'll deal with the tower first of all. So let's get started. We can see here we have our planning out our layout, drawing my XY line like so, and my YY line, my front elevation going to be here, my plan view here, and then my end view going to be over here like so. So I'm going to start by drawing in the plan view because that's the view where I'm going to see my round tower as my round tower. And I'm going to draw in, just using the dimensions that I have, the main body of the building. I have a little bit of a construction line here when it comes to just, I suppose, the part. There's the solid building. There's the solid building there. And then at this point here, it's where it meets the actual round tower. We're taking this as been one solid body. We're not taking it as been two separate things. So it's not going to go all the way through. It's going to stop short there. So we find the center of that, and looking back at our question, its diameter 50, so the center is going to be across 25, and with our compass sets our radius 25, we can just draw in the tower like so. We can add in then our kind of 45-degree line, and we can transfer that main position of our building across into our end view. So there you can see there's our um, back of our building. There's the back of the building here. This is how far it is out from the back wall. This is the same distance from the back wall, our YY line here. And same with the front of the building. So there's the front of our building like so. I'm going to draw a line vertical like so, and that's going to give me the top and the bottom points of my tower like that. So rather than just offering your set square tangential to it or your t-square tangential to it, we're going to locate those exact points. So there we can put in the height of our round tower, which is also the height of the apex of the building. Just going back there, you can see we actually do have the location and the height for the actual ridge of our roof here like that. We know it's going to be 100 mil high. So once we have it here, we can finish off the actual conical roof there for our round tower, and I can take the ridge here down and across. So we know our ridge is going to be somewhere along there. Now we knew it was in the middle, so we could have just measured that if we wanted to, but this is just kind of a nicer way that you can see how it is all connected up, or just to make sure that it is connected. So that is our end view there with our tower and our main building there. I'm going to just draw in a bit of our front elevation here. So you can see there's our ridge going across, there's our side of our building for our tower, the side of the building for our main building, and I'm going to have my distance across the ridge here, and there's the profile for my little hip that we have on the end of it there. Um, so you can see how I'm tying my views together. We want to see where that um, hip is here. There's the location for the hip, so there he is there, and you can see from my question, well, I knew he was in 25, so that wasn't really kind of any mystery. I could have measured in 25 there. That wouldn't be, any, that would have been easy enough to do. But what I am missing is this width here. I don't know this width here. And a lot of students are just going to go from there and join it down to the corner here. If you've already done that, you're in good company there. You're not the only one, but you can see the hip doesn't go to the bottom corner there. It actually stops shorter. So we don't know the measurement for this width here. That's where we need to have our profile views drawn in. So there's the profile of our slice. There's the profile of our main roof. So by taking him across, now you can see where he meets the main roof there. That is my line for my hip there like that. And I can transfer that down and across. And now I've located the completed hip in my plan view. And you can see there's the real width in my plan view. And I couldn't have done that unless I drew my profile views in first. I cannot guess that line there. I have to have my profile of my slice and the profile of the roof there like that. And I have to bring the two of them into my view. So that's why it's so important that our views all tie together, that I'm not going remeasuring as I go along. And so that's my hip completed. Now we're going to work out kind of our interaction here for our round tower. So we're going to do like what we've done before. There's our plan view completed. So project it onto the horizontal plane. That's what we have represented here like that. There's our end view represented on our end vertical plane. That's what we see here. So let's go and work out our hidden detail here for our elliptical kind of interaction between our round tower and our main roof section. So we've seen, like in our first example, the way we're going to do that. So there's just our rough conical part there. To actually work, there's the main building coming back, meeting the roof. To work that out, we need to break up our circle into a number of equal parts. So I'm going to use my 60/30 set square to do that. And I'm just going to label the points from my point number 1 here across the 7. You can see these actual points here. I've drawn them in, but you don't actually need to draw them in because there is no interaction past the extreme part on the left and the extreme part on the right. There's no part out to the front of our round tower. It's only towards the back of it. So that's why I've only labeled the points on the back of my round tower. So with that in mind, I have found my points on my profile and plan. Now we can take them across, bring them up, and we bring them across then to locate them on our profile of our main roof section here. So there's 2 goes across and 6. There's 2 and 6, and there's 3 and 5 goes across. There's 3 and 5, and then 4 goes across, and there's where 4 is there like that. And we also have 1 and 7, which we already had really from the beginning of our question. So we might as well label them in. So now all I need to do is just bring them all together just by going straight up from our plan and straight across from my end view. So there's 1 and 7, 2 and 6, 3 and 5, and then lastly 4. Now I'm using different color here for the construction lines. They are construction, so they will be nice and light. The only reason I use a different color is just so that it stands out from the other construction line, just to make sure you know which lines we're talking about. In your question, you remember you're going to try and keep the construction as light as you possibly can. So there is my curve there made up of our dots. So because it's hidden behind the round tower, in this case, we're going to draw a light sketch, and we're going to go over it in heavy with our broken line there representing our hidden detail. So there is our missing kind of interaction between the tower and the actual main roof. Now, if you think you're finished at the moment, you're one step away from being finished. We also have a line here like that, hidden line going across. If you can see it highlighted here, it's actually the back gutter here like that. So there's our front gutter does stop there. So that's why this solid line here stops once it meets the round tower. But the back one doesn't meet the round tower. So it actually goes all the way through the piece. So there is our line going all the way through the piece. Really, really easy to miss that point. So there is our completed front elevation. So we can just shade it in, and that's what we should be ended up with there. So there is our front elevation showing our interaction between a round tower and a roof, and our slice here giving us our hip, like so. And again, that's, you can really see how these are kind of coming together now to give us kind of shapes and objects that, you could actually be kind of finding real kind of real life objects. So hopefully you're getting on okay with that, and we have one more exercise to do then to finish it off.